Hello everybody, Ghostblade1062 here with another rolling stock review. Today we will be looking at the Scale Train's Rivet counter, Trinity 82 foot, 7,883 cubic foot Reefers in the Trinity Industries leasing company scheme. When these cars came out, I had ordered a total of 8 of them. One of them is a sound equipped unit, which is the one we will be specifically looking at in this video. And then 2 of them have the capacity information printed on them, but do not have a road name or road number to them, allowing for some versatility for creating a custom railroad. That being said, let's move on to the unboxing. Alright, time to take a closer look at the packaging. Starting on the front here, we have the Scale Train's logo with the website along the bottom center, and a big clear plastic front window giving us our first look at the car. On the top of the box, we still have the window extending over, as well as the Scale Train's branding. The address, contact information, and Scale Train's logo are on the bottom of the box. On the left side of the box, we have the Scale Train's logo, as well as the Rivet counter logo. And again, the address and contact information for Scale Train's. Then on the back of the box, we have some prototype history for these cars, as well as a list of features, and some information about Scale Train's as a manufacturer, including the features included for the Rivet counter line, as well as a list of their different lines of product. And then finally, on the right side of the box, we have a picture of the car itself. Here we also see that this is a sound equipped car. It is a Trinity 82 foot, 7,883 cubic foot Reefer in the Trinity Industries leasing company scheme. TILX road number 793014, equipped with a carrier HVAC unit. And this particular car is item number SXT 38950. And now, opening up the box, we have the car in this 2-piece shell, but we also have a product manual included here, as well as a little baggie containing some barcodes, as well as spare bearing caps. And in our product manual, we again have the prototype information. We have a list of prototype features. Opening it up, we have a exploded diagram with parts list. And then on the back, we again have more of a parts list, as well as instructions for the sound system, contact information for scale trains, and the warranty. And now, to open up the case, we gotta cut the tape on either side of the box here in order to take the car out. There we go. And the car is wrapped in some softer plastic to help preserve the paint. And here we have the Reefer car. And next, we can move on to the detail overview section of the video. Alright, time to take a closer look at the car. Starting at the head end here, we have our knuckle coupler. And right beneath that, we have our brake line here. We also have our grab irons here, with warnings about fuel type right above the left grab iron. And if we tilt up behind this head shield here, we actually can see the fuel tank for the Reefer. We also have this walkway here, right above the fuel tank, with its own handrails, which are separately fitted from the main body of the car. And then we have our actual Reefer unit here, this being a satellite-controlled Reefer unit. But tilting to the side here, we can also see the control panel. Moving onto the side of the car, we have our step, our grab irons for climbing up to the walkway here, where the Reefer unit is accessible. And we again see the control panel right here as well. And on either side we have grab irons here as well, and these are all painted white to help them stand out from the rest of the walkway and grab irons. Moving on along the side, we have this icicle pattern along the top of the car here, as well as the FRA striping along the bottom. We have our Trinity Industry Leasing Company's reporting marks here, the TILX, with the road number 793014, as well as our capacity information. And then we have our trucks here with some moderate suspension detailing. Moving along the side here, we have our sliding door, which is molded on, along with the rails for which the door would slide on. And this is a plug door type setup to help seal and keep the cold air inside the Reefer unit. And we have our cross beams for stabilizing the door, as well as we see our locking mechanisms all molded in, as well as writing in multiple spots for instructing where to close the car and to make sure it's properly sealed. And moving along towards the rear of the car, here we have a molded on ladder that goes about halfway up the car with stirrup steps. and more capacity information. Moving on to the rear of the car, along the top here we have this blue paint, which is to, like on high cube boxcars, to depict how much of the car is above regular size. And on here we again have the reporting marks and road number. We have the excessive height car warning here as well. And information about the braking system and axles. We also have our ladders on both sides here. And in between that, right above the coupler, is a small walkway to help operators access the separately fitted plastic brake wheel, which does in fact turn. And this walkway is painted a silver color instead of the white of the regular body. And here below we also see the coupler cut lever and brake line. And now moving on to the last side, we again have our ladder and stirrup steps. We have our road name and road number, our nicely detailed door, and on the far side more capacity information, and again we have our ladder going up to the walkway to access the main reefer unit. Looking at the car from the top, the roof doesn't really add much additional detailing except for some rivet detailing. But we do have a bit of extra detailing on top of the reefer unit here, including the exhaust and antennas. As again, this is a radio-controlled unit. And now, looking at the car from the underside, we have our brake line detailing along the bottom. We have our rib frame detailing, our air reservoir and brake cylinder. Looking at the trucks, we can see it in here by the wheels. We have our pickups for power. And on the opposite side, on the other truck. And right here we have a button for volume control of the car. And next we will move on to the rip track segment of the video. Alright, time for the rip track segment of the video. To start with, we are going to verify the wheel gauge on the car with the NMRA standards gauge, starting on the lead truck here. And we are in gauge on axle 1 and axle 2 is also engaged. Now for the rear truck. Axle 1 is good. And axle 2 is also good. So now we will move on to verifying the coupler height of the car. Okay, and make sure. And this coupler looks to be, the lead coupler is not sitting properly on this car. There we go. And it is at at proper height, if not just a touch low on the head end. Now for the rear coupler. And the rear coupler is sitting low on this car. But given that I currently only run flat track, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So now we can take the car over to the track for a function test. Alright, I've got the car put on the track now. And to start with, I'm going to enable the track power, which should automatically turn on the functions of the car. So as we just saw with track power on, the lighting on the control panel here turned on, as well as, while it is quiet, the reefer unit turned on as well. And from reading the instruction manual to enable and disable the functions, you should take 3 fingers and tap on the roof just above the door. And I can't seem to get that to work. The touch system is located under the center of the roof section above the doors. Yes, I can't seem to get that to work. I'll have to get that figured out. But the sound is functioning. So next, we will move on to some run-by footage with all 8 cars as a part of a manifest train. Alright everybody, this concludes my review of the Scale Train's Rivet Counter Trinity 82-foot Reefer cars. All in all, by ways of design, they are very nice cars and they roll very smoothly. However, I am having a lot of issues with the couplings on these cars being off height and constantly uncoupling. So in the future, I do intend to change the couplers over to KD couplers, which I hope will solve that issue, because as it stands right now, I had these cars come uncoupled half a dozen times in a single loop around my track, making them more or less not really functional for active operations. That being said, they are still very nice cars. I will have to figure out how to get the sound unit to turn on and off. But aside from that, they are still very nice cars. That being said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment, and subscribe for more model railroad content. Have a great day, everybody.